Glad morning when this life is o'er, I fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I fly away. I fly away, oh glory. I fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life has grown, I'll fly away. Like a bird from prison bars has flown, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Third verse, let's see how this turns out. I don't know, it could really go anyway at this point. Just a just a few more weary days and then I fly away to a land where joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I fly away. That's a song of what is that song about? It's a celebration of the relief of throwing off the mortal coil. Hey Dave, hey Dave in LA, hey Donald in Sacramento. We got the West Coast in numbers tonight. I should sing that California song again that I sang last night. I like that one. Hello, everybody. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. Hello, Honolulu. Oh my God, Z, we haven't seen you in a while. Aloha and mahalo for tuning in. By the way, did I mention that my ukulele is made by a company called Mahalo? I don't know if you can see it, but mahalo. When I die, when I die, hallelujah, by and by, I fly away. I, some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Yeah, let's look this up. This is a song called I'll Fly Away. Words and music by Albert Brumley. I don't think he's related to Alfred Brumley, the wonderful actor from Cocoon. Albert Brumley, American musical composer and publisher. Albert Brumley. October 29th, 1905 until November 15th, 1977. Born in Oklahoma, died in Missouri. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. So he lived, he was a 20th century guy. So maybe this is not public domain. Oh, I'll fly away. Public domain. Let's see. It was published in 1932 and it is still under copyright. The copyright expires in 2027. Copyright by Albert Brumley and Sons. All right, Brumleys, send me an invoice, and I'm going to send you a check. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I am Ethan Hirschenfeld, as you can see right here. Ethan Hirschenfeld. This is the No-Show for the final day of June of 2024. June of 2024 is in the books. It'll never come again. So if there are a few more things that you had to do in June of 2024, now is the moment. Get them done, because time's a wasting. Yes, Wilford Brimley. Thank you, Wilford Brimley. I called him Alfred. My mistake. Wilford Brimley. He also had a commercial, a very folksy commercial that I liked. It was not Pepperidge Farms, but it was in that sort of vein. Man, he had that. He cornered the market for folksy, avuncular pitchman. Wow. I fly away. Oh, when. It's not happening now, but when it happens. So tomorrow morning, as I've mentioned, I have they moved the call back a little bit. So instead of having to show up at the trailer at 4:45, I get till 5:15 in the morning tomorrow to show up for shooting that extra scene in the Netflix series, The Savant. The Savant. Oh, Quaker Oats. There you go. That's what it was. Good thinking. Good eating. Yeah, that's good eating. He had that mustache. He would have made a good duet with the Pepperidge Farm. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Mark Twain wrote an autobiography in order to tack added pieces onto his novels in order to extend the patent. Wrote autobiography in order to tack. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'll buy that. Oh, Liberty Mutual. You know what? A friend of mine told me recently, and I looked it up, because we were working on a jingle. I think I had it for the Truro Farmers Market. They come from miles around to this outer Cape Town, Truro Farmers Market, the freshest food ever found. It comes straight out of the ground, Truro Farmers Market. That was my proto jingle. But then someone mentioned to me that my friend Seth mentioned that Barry Manilow wrote a lot of famous jingles. So if you Google Barry Manilow jingles, he was making some dough in the 70s and even in the 80s. He did some really famous ones. He did a Pepsi one. He did a McDonald's one. He did Band-Aid. I am stuck on Band-Aid because Band-Aid stuck on me. Can you believe that? That was Barry Manilow who wrote that. It sounds like an apocryphal story, but that's who wrote that. Pretty amazing. A little bit of ice water in the sweet by and by. That's another. All right, I'm gonna have to learn that one. I don't know that one. All right, so I got up real early this morning. I drove from Massachusetts down here to Brooklyn. Got to get my act together a little bit, and then went to see that friend of mine in his play. He was fantastic. The play was really good. Today was the closing performance. If you ever get a chance to see it, I recommend it. It's called Molly Sweeney by Brian Friel. Brian Friel, who is a great Irish playwright, passed away just a few years ago. Playwright, he wrote short stories also. I read in the playbill. And kind of a prolific playwright for decades and decades. So the Irish Rep, nice theater here in New York. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. Oh, Dave. Hey, Dave in LA. So you say that was from Robert Duvall and the Apostle. You want to know something? That's one of those movies I always meant to see because the trailer was really um, engrossing. The trailer was riveting, even. I really would love to see that. I don't know how I missed that. I think I might have seen some scenes from it. Robert Duvall and the Apostle. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh, I'll fly away. Z, I love that offer. Z says thank you. If you ever want a fancy ukulele, let me know. I'll find you something and mail it to you. I have a better idea. Why don't I fly there and meet you in Hawaii and pick one up? I would like to go. I haven't been there in years, and I love it there. Yes, so the thumbnail photo, let me say a word about that. I am a person who collects stuff. Um, I had a great grandfather who was in the scrap business. He would collect scraps and then sell them from a scrapyard. And I think genetically, I have a little bit of the scrap person in me. So that was just a stick I found on the beach. I have a few pieces of driftwood from the beach that are now on the dashboard of my car. They're not big enough to block my view. Don't be alarmed. But that one, which I used in a thumbnail today for the show, is really incredible. I found it just about 2 months ago, and it really looks like a serpent. It has the head of a dragon, depending on what angle you look at it. And it really is, it's a nice piece of driftwood. So that's what that is. I was thinking I would do some sort of urban photo for the thumbnail tonight since I'm back in New York City for the first time in 3 weeks. But I didn't quite have anything that fit the bill. I wanted to look up that guy, Brumley. I got stuck on just noticing that it's not in the public domain yet, but I do want to see what the story behind this Brumley guy, Albert Brumley. So we said that he was born in October 29th, 1905 in Oklahoma, died November 15th, 1977 in Missouri. Prolific in the genre of Southern gospel. It says he was an American shape note music composer and publisher, prolific in the genre of, I don't know what a shape note composer is. Shape note, our musical notation designed to facilitate congregational and social singing. That's interesting. So when you're in church and you open your hymnal, and there's a very kind of pared down, simple, it just shows the vocal line. I think it shows very pared down chord. It doesn't show a whole musical accompaniment or piano part. That's called shape notes. Interesting. So in 1920, so he was born into sharecropper family. He spent much of his early life chopping and picking cotton on the family farm. I'm reading a book right now that's just incredible. That takes place in that milieu, only in the slave South. It's the Underground Railroad. It's that novel by oh boy, I'm spacing on his name. I'm ashamed to say. Colson Whitehead. That's it. Colson Whitehead. My apologies. I should know his name. I've read a bunch of his books. Incredible writer. He wrote The Nickel Boys also. Incredible novel. Anyway, I'm reading The Underground Railroad. It's in the cotton, King Cotton, as they call it, that region, I think. So Brumley, he went to the Institute of Music in Hartford, Arkansas. Spent 5 years studying there. So the Institute was led by Eugene Bartlett, owner of the Hartford Music Company and composer of the very well-known song the gospel song Victory in Jesus. Brumley purchased the Hartford Music Company in 1948. So he was a student at this musical institute run by this guy who had a music company, and then a few years later, 15 years later, he bought the company. Interesting. Yeah, I Will Fly Away. Oh, Brumley's son Tom, who would die in 2009, became a respected steel guitarist and song leader of the Church of Christ in Powell. That's the church that Brumley was a member of. Okay, so we learned something. Albert Brumley, who wrote that amazing song. I know that song because I first heard it in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, the Coen Brothers movie from 20 years ago, which is just one of the great movies of the last few decades, and probably the best soundtrack of any movie in recent memory. Let me catch up on our comments here, see what's going on. Do you have to take your shoes off when you fly away? Interesting question. That reminds me, when I was sitting down to watch this show, an older couple came in. They were sitting down in front of me and the person I was sitting next to. And the woman, it was an older couple, the woman dropped her phone, and then she was trying to retrieve it and having a little bit of trouble. And so I said, "Can I help you? Can I get the phone?" And she said, "No, I'll get it." And her husband said, "No, she needs to do some stretching." And then he said to me, I never thought I would get to the age where putting on my socks was such a workout. And I said, by way of kind of commiserating, I said, we're all going there. That's where we're all headed. And then one day, it's the last time you put your socks on. And I said it in the spirit of, you're not going to always have to put your socks on. Someday you're going to, but the woman I was sitting next to, she was like, "Oh, that got pretty dark." It was just sort of like banter with strangers that ended up taking on a kind of morbid tone. I kind of meant it, but it was, I was commiserating. It was small talk on the subject of mortality. And mortality's on my mind, I would say, a little more than usual. I'm not going to go into the subject, but mortality. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. What does by and by mean? Does by and by mean soon, or does by and by mean eventually? In the sweet by and by. Does by and by mean the afterlife? By and by meaning. Eventually, in a little while. Yeah, it can mean soon or it can mean eventually. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. Before long, soon, by and by. I wonder why that came to mean that. By and by etymology. One by one, by and by, one by one. It has its roots in Middle English with the origin by and by, B and B, meaning one by one or at once. From the Middle English, by and by, side by side. Uh-oh. Side by side. It's one of my favorite songs. I think I'm going to have to play that. So by and by, originally in the Old English, meant side by side. Harry Woods, 1896 to 1970. Harry Woods, side by side. Oh, we ain't got a barrel of money. Maybe we're ragged and funny. We travel along, singing a song, side by side. When they've all, I don't know what's coming tomorrow. Maybe it's trouble and sorrow, but we'll travel a road, sharing our load, side by side. Through all kinds of weather, what if the sky should fall? Just as long as we're together, it doesn't matter at all. When they've all had their quarrels and parted, We'll be the same as we started, just a traveling alone, singing a song, side by side. Through all kinds of weather, what if the sky should fall? Just as long as we're together, it doesn't matter at all. When they've all had their quarrels and parted, we'll be the same as we started, just a traveling alone, sharing a song, singing a song, singing a song, side by side by side. Oh yeah. All right, side by side. I always like that song. Do you have to take a shoot? Ooh. My gosh, gravity doing its thing. You can always count on gravity. Is everyone okay? I hope no one got injured in that fall. I have not read all the books on my shelf, but I wrote this one. Today is Now. That's the book I wrote 2 years ago. The satirical self-help book. You've heard of Pearls of Wisdom? These are maybe glass beads of wisdom. They're costume jewelry pearls of wisdom. No, I definitely haven't read all the books. But here, I'll show you. There's more books. There's those books. There's some books over there. There's The Marabou by Zura. There's some more books. And there's some more books. And there's my forehead. I have a little zit just in time for my TV shoot tomorrow. That's going to be a job for the makeup artists. What timing? What dermatological timing? Yeah, oh, Magister Ludi. Isn't that Hermann Hesse? The glass bead game. Anyway, I have the glass bead game. Yeah. I have a whole Hermann Hesse section, and I've read most of it. And that's one that I never really got into. I think I have a copy. Thank you, Bliquet. That's very generous to say that the zit on my forehead is a good luck sign. The other thing is, this is an extra scene from the same episode that we already shot 2 months ago. So I don't know what the makeup artists are going to do, because when the sun comes out in May and June, I get much darker very quickly. So my skin tone is several shades darker than it was when we shot the same, the other scene back in February or March. So, I'm going to have to point that out to them in the makeup chair. Maybe they're going to have to lighten me up a little bit. But I think it's sort of a somewhat dim office scene. So I don't think it's probably not that critical. Yeah, Hermann Hesse is one of my favorites. I'll show you. I have an entire Hesse shelf right here. I got a Gertrude, which is a really good one. I got The Greatest Stories in German, Steppenwolf, Narcissus and Goldmund. Oh, there it is, Magister Ludi. Rosthalde, some poems. Yeah, we got some Hesse. La da 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 da. Yeah, da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Side by rhinestones. That was it. Rhinestones of wisdom. Yeah, bloopers are the most fun when things fall and break and people spill stuff. It's absolutely true. Whew. Gogol. Oh, I have a Gogol. Yeah, I got the Gogol. Oh, you saw that. I got that Gogol collection also. Let me recommend this book if I haven't discussed it before. A Swim in the Pond in the Rain. A Swim in the Pond in the Rain. I know I've mentioned it on the show before, but it's really one of the best books I've read in the last few years. A Swim in the Pond in the Rain by George Saunders, in which four Russians, this is the subtitle, in which four Russians give a master class on writing, reading, and life. A Swim in a Pond in the Rain by George Saunders, who's one of our greatest fiction writers. George Saunders, Lincoln in the Bardo, among others, 10th of December. But this book, A Swim in a Pond in the Rain, was so much fun. It's based on this class he's taught for many years, where he teaches his writing students about writing good fiction by looking at some Russian short stories from the 19th century. It's a great book. It's very entertaining. A Swim in a Pond in the Rain. I recommend it. And the cover is purple, which is, a great color. That's what the cover looks like. A Swim in a Pond in the Rain. Side by side. I want to thank my friend Peter, who helped me tonight with my French audition. First, we did some French, a little French during the day. We spoke, and he gave me some thoughts about the French. And then he read the scene with me. He was masterful. And we did a bunch of takes, and now I'm going to submit it tonight. All right, what are we doing here? What is happening? Oh, it was the Pride Parade, I think, today in Chelsea, New York, because I took the subway from here in Brooklyn to see my friend's show in Chelsea, and it was like it was Pride Parade. It was like a big rainbow party on the subway, on 6th Avenue, on 6th Avenue afterwards, on the subway coming home. It was a big Pride party, so I had no idea. That was well timed. It wasn't like I didn't really hear much music. It was just more everyone was dressed up or dressed scantily, lots of rainbows, lots of skin, and people just having a big old party. So that was fun. And then it was raining. In the good old summertime, in the good old summertime, strolling through the shady lanes with your baby mine. You hold her hand and she holds yours, and that's a very good sign that she's your Tootsie Wootsie in the good old summertime. George Evans, 1902, Tootsie Wootsie. Okay, Sacramento and Los Angeles. California, here I come, right back where I started from, where bowers of flowers bloom in the sun. Each morning at dawning, birdies sing and everything. A sun-kissed miss said, don't be late. That's why I can hardly wait. Open up that golden gate. California, here I come. All right, that was a hasty version, but California. Well, thank you, Z. That's generous. My left hand was all over the place there, but I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to our friends in California. And my gosh, I got to get up real early tomorrow. I shouldn't complain. It's fun. I'm not complaining. Yeah, you know what? What is that called? That's called like independence, like to be able to play and sing and sort of separate them rhythmically. It's real practice. I heard some real pro, some superstar interviewed on that very thing. And the answer was just practice. And I think the answer with that, like with so many things, is to go slow. Like, there was a line in this French audition that had a tricky pronunciation thing with these vowels that are very similar but just a little bit different. And I have no problem with the phrase slow and measured. And at speed, it's a little bit fuzzier. So my friend who teaches diction and opera, his suggestion was like, just like with studying piano or anything, just repeat it many times, slowly, slowly, slowly. Piano piano, lentamente, langsam, langsam. How do you get that Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice. And then get on the N train or the R to 57. I'll be here at 9 always, every night at 9 always. When the things you've planned need a helping hand, I will understand always, always. Days may not be fair always. That's when I'll be there always. Not just for an hour, not just for a day, not just for a year, but always. Always here, every night at 9. Thank you for your eyes and your ears. And I will see you tomorrow night at 9. 6 on the West Coast, 3 in Hawaii. Thank you all for tuning in.